Welcome everybody back to the Flying Doghouse. We're going to do a little something different today. We are going to recreate a historic airline flight, and we are going to have a fly from Greenville, Spartanburg in South Carolina over to Asheville. And we're going to do that in a Delta Airlines DC-3. So we are going to follow the route of Delta Airlines Flight 366, and we'll be doing that in the DC-3. So let's spend a couple of minutes talking about the DC-3 and a little bit of history around Delta, and then we'll take off from Spartanburg and make our way over to Asheville. So what would you want to know? Range about 500 miles for the DC-3. Airspeed around 170. Number of passengers 21-ish. Aircraft was powered by two Wright Cyclone engines. There were 23 DC-3s that were flown by Delta, and 3 of those were C-47 cargo variants. So a little bit about the DC-3 if you're not familiar with that aircraft. By 1940, the DC-3 was carrying about 80% of the world's passenger airline traffic. Also flying mail. It was the first airplane with fuel capacity enough to fly from New York to Chicago nonstop. That's kind of interesting. So Delta purchased 5 DC-3s at a cost of about $115,000 each in 1940s money. And those 5 ships, ship 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44, November 28340 through November 28344, taking delivery on November the 29th, 1940 with the first ship, and last ship delivered on January 12th, 1941. So the other thing that I would point out too is the livery that we are using for today's flight is actually November 28342, which is available for download on Flightsim.to. And since I am doing this flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, I am also using the Duckworks Mod. But this aircraft will be available in both Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and 2024. So I'm going to cut our favorite background music off here. What else would I tell you about flying commercial in 1948? So food-wise, box lunches, which probably would have consisted of fried chicken or ham, salad and cookies, and thermoses would have held coffee, soup, ice water, and hot water for tea. Bottles of Coca-Cola would have been available as well. Crackers and chewing gum also available to help manage air sickness and ear problems because the cabins were unpressurized. So there you go. The other thing that I would point out is that Delta was originally started as a crop dusting service and then has evolved into a very, very large airline. I would dare take a stab that Atlanta Hartsfield International Airport got its wings from Delta and its presence there. So at any rate, let's jump over into the sim. All right, so we're sitting on the ground here in Spartanburg. Let's jump outside the plane. And we'll use our little roll around camera here. Take a look. So there we go with our livery. Again, we are in November Charlie 28341. And we're going to take off from Spartanburg and we're going to make our way over to Asheville. All right, let me get a couple of things situated here and then we will be ready to go. I think we're going to be ready to go. Let's try that again. All right. We have been cleared for takeoff, so let's roll. And I'm going to stay outside the aircraft here and kind of roll around with the drone camera and film the takeoff. About 40 miles an hour, the tail is going to come off the ground, giving you some rotor authority to be able to maneuver the plane on the runway. And we are up, and gear should be coming up. And then we'll take up flaps. Inside of this aircraft is very, very well done. There we go with the gear coming up. Get our cowl flaps situated correctly here. And we'll jump back outside the plane as we make our departure from the original airport here in Spartanburg. Get our mixture in RPM and manifold pressure situated here. If you do drop below a certain RPM, you are going to get a warning klaxon that you just heard, reminding you to deploy your landing gear. All right. We'll just fly along here for a little bit. Take in some scenery. This is upstate South Carolina. Home to lots of things. But I guess one of the things that would be near and dear to my heart from upstate South Carolina would be South Carolina peaches. And I wish somebody would model this in the sim. There is a wonderful water tower not too far from Spartanburg that is referred to as the Peachoid. Yes, you guessed it. The water tower is shaped like and painted to look like a peach. So it's quite charming. It's quite hot and humid in the upstate of South Carolina during the summertime. And winters are relatively mild. If we are getting inclement weather in this part of the eastern U.S., it's usually freezing rain and sleet. Not a lot of snow here. Every once in a while we'll get hammered with a foot or more, but those are rare occurrences. I'd also briefly mention that this part of the upstate of South Carolina and then the Asheville area that we're making our way over toward was really very severely negatively impacted by Hurricane Helene. Lots of flooding, lots of power outages, down trees, and then people and property being swept away. So a number of fatalities during that storm, and the area is still recovering. So numbers of displaced folks that are living in tents, and in the North Carolina mountains now, in the Asheville area, this is the time of year where they do get some snow. So, at any rate, the area was absolutely just hammered with 40 inches of rain in addition to the hurricane force winds. But most of the roads now are back and open. Some of them that aren't are well on their way to being reconstructed, and people are putting things back together. And then also looking forward to having visitors in the area. But one of the major tourist attractions in the Asheville area is the Biltmore House. It's the largest private residence in the United States. Was built by the Vanderbilt family. So if you're interested in that, there's lots of different places on the internet to go and learn about the Biltmore House. Maybe I'll throw something in the description in the video below. The other thing that I'll be linking to as far as the video is concerned is the livery that we are using for the DC-3. And then I'll also provide a link for the Duckworks Mod as well for your use in Flight Simulator 2020. Again, this aircraft is available on both platforms in 2020 and in 2024. And I wanted to specifically use this livery, so that's why we're having the 2020 flight, and it works wonderfully here. If you're not yet on 2024, still on the fence, this will definitely give you another avenue to pursue. This was a 40th anniversary aircraft that was included with that particular iteration of 2020. And then the Duckworks mod that's available on Flightsim.to just makes it even better. It's a joy to fly. Again, really the thing to keep in mind about operating the DC-3 is managing your airspeed, in terms of approach. Take care of your motors and manage your airspeed, and you shouldn't have any issues. Although you don't want to get too slow on approach. You get too slow, the aircraft will start buffeting, and then it will do horrible things to you, like pushing you into the ground if you let it stall. It'll drop a wing and you'll fall over. Other than that, it's really just practicing your takeoffs and your landings, and getting comfortable with the tail wheel dragger concept. I would suggest that you bind the tail wheel lock to a controller. You can also use the keyboard, but having that handy should you need it is most appropriate for this particular bird. All right, let's just check some gauges here while we're making our way across. There's the red button here is the tail wheel lock. And we'll sit back and kick back for a minute or three here in the passenger section. We'll look out the window. There's some dirt and muck on the wings. And we are making our way into Asheville. We are just to the southwest of Hendersonville. We've slowed up our approach speed here. And we'll continue to reduce speed as we make our way in, and then we'll drop gear and flap and prepare for a good landing. I guess a couple of other things I'll mention in terms of geography. You know, this particular area, there are two major rivers that do funnel the off-flow off of the high hills here, the Davidson River and then the French Broad. And again, given all of that rain that they got in a very, very short period of time, and you can also see from looking at the horizon here, there are areas that are very, very flat. So imagine where the water accumulated, right? And also in the valleys, which would have washed away people and property. Anyway, it's very, very fortunate that the airport didn't sustain a lot of damage, because it's right next to the French Broad River and not very far from the Davidson either. So lots of transport aircraft and helicopters off based here at Asheville for recovery efforts. And major thanks to all the volunteers and the first responders who really did do a lot of work to save lives. All right. We are getting ourselves situated here for final approach. And we'll be dropping flap here soon. This particular variant of the DC-3 does have a Sperry auto gyro that you can set for course and then also attitude hold. And it does work very nicely. It's just not a modern autopilot, so it does take a little bit of getting used to, if you will, in order to operate it correctly. All right, let's jump outside the airplane and kind of watch the approach in here. So we'll do that from the outside. All right, we got our gear down. We're good to go. Manage our airspeed a little bit here. All right, you're close to the airport when you see this large housing development that's right below us, and then there's also a golf course. There are lots of golf courses here. Mountain golf is a lot of fun. And Asheville Airport is quite busy with both commercial and general aviation aircraft. And we do have Airbus A320s flying here on the regular. Here we go. We're almost to the ILS. Over the highway. And then we'll be just about to the touchdown zone here. So we're going to be really close. Maybe a little long. You do want to be gentle on brakes. Maintain some airspeed. That'll give you some rudder authority to be able to maneuver the plane on the runway. Be gentle, because the DC-3 will ground loop on you. All right. We'd welcome the opportunity for you to like and subscribe the video and share. Also, open invitation for you to join us on Discord. And if you're looking for a virtual airline, Virtual Flight Online is the place to go. We're looking to fly the big birds. Jonathan and his team have done a wonderful job of that. So, lots of fun activities to partake in if that is of interest to you, as well as group flights and other things. Great group of people. At any rate, we're going to leave it here. Thanks for being along for the fly. Hope everybody is keeping well. Until next time. Cheers, y'all.